Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a third episode of the Brotherhood Coalition podcast. My name is Chuks Onwachi, one of the co-organizers for the group. I am joined by Travis. You want to say hi to our folks this time?
No.
No, my goodness, bro. Again, second episode. Anyways, all
He's
right.
on a roll.
Yeah. Okay, Marco, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good.
You
Thanks for
doing good?
asking.
You want to say hi to our
Hope
peoples?
everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. It was a nice day today in Ottawa.
It
So
was. It was a really nice day
a
today.
little rainy, but it was nice,
Yeah, you did good.
warm.
Yeah, and how was Valentine's Day yesterday for you, my friend?
It was nice.
Yeah,
We actually kind of celebrated today. Kind of did a little
good,
thing. You
good,
know,
good.
I'm on the road to New York coming up. I got things going on. Busy man. So
Oh,
just
yeah.
excited to be here.
All right, sir. And Adam, man, what's going on, man?
I'm all right.
You doing
And
good?
to our returning viewers, thanks for tuning in again. But I'm chilling. Got this dumb cold I'm dealing with, but all is good.
Blessings, man.
As well.
Blessings. Health
Yeah,
is wealth, my friend. Health is wealth.
yeah.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. We are here we're just letting you know that we are the Brotherhood Coalition. So our focus is really to talk about trending issues, focusing on black males in Canada. We're just going to be engaging in really hot topics and things that we would like to discuss from our perspectives. So this is that place. One of the topics well, first of all, I just wanted to wish everybody happy Black History Month. I know that it's an important month for the Black community. And just wanted to quickly give a shout out to a lot of those community organizations doing a lot of great work, a lot of events happening in Ottawa. And I really appreciate it. Hopefully, to catch some of them for sure. Also, just wanted to note we will be talking about the whole Tyre Nichols situation. If you, I'm pretty sure you guys already know, Tyre Nichols was beaten by five black officers in Memphis. I believe it was January 4th, I believe about a month ago. And he succumbed to his injuries. So this is another example of situations where we're being impacted by law enforcement. Um, as we know, it's not just the states that deals with this. This is also can be done within Canada as well. We have a lot of issues within the Canadian justice system as well. But we definitely thought that this would be a topic that we'd like to discuss as a group, recognizing that we're focusing on black male issues. So really wanted to start off by getting my guys here to just give them their initial thoughts about the situation that happened in Memphis. Maybe we can bounce off certain ideas and certain things that we can talk about. But initially, just wanted to get your perspectives first, and then hopefully we can have some good conversation. So maybe I'll just start off quickly with Marco. Um, Screen's frozen?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, so Marco, go ahead, man. Just let the viewers know your thoughts, your general thoughts, and then we can go around the table. Ada and Travis, go ahead, man. After that,
General thoughts first is I need to apologize to the family, to him, because as black men and who we represent, we like to also involve all black men, and this includes black police officers, into the conversation. And not to say that we represent them, but they have a voice within our circle of the Brotherhood Coalition.
absolutely.
And I know that this is a very, very sensitive topic, so I do not want to defend or accuse anything, just apologize and hope the best for the family. Yeah.
No, same here. There are a lot of millions of families that deal with this on a day-to-day basis, particularly in the States, and here in Canada as well. And absolutely, I think that's a very point to make to just definitely extend our condolences to the family, to the friends that have been affected by this horrific incident. It's happening way too much. It's happening way too often within society, and it's really time to really act upon those and really start to strengthen and empower us as individuals, as Black men, to really find ways of being able to support each other when such situations like this happen, because we don't want to be suffering in silence. Obviously, we want to be able to have an outlet for people to be able to voice their concerns, and I think it's definitely good that you mentioned that we can definitely start by extending our condolences to the family. Travis, go ahead, man.
Uh, Same condolences to the family. It was very sad. I think that this was very personal. Um, Looking at the evidence, it seems like um, there may have been an officer out of the five that had a reason to attack,
Mm-hmm.
and at least that's what it seems like. This could be this looks like a problem of groupthink,
Mm-hmm.
where the rest of the officers, there's a culture, and they've normalized a bunch of things to lead them to that point where they're doing that. So I think this is a bigger issue of the power dynamics, and how black men fall into the same traps that we accuse white cops of falling into as soon as power is available. As soon as the training is done. Because they were almost military like
Mm-hmm. They had
in the
ski masks,
prior.
like black ski masks and stuff like that, right?
Right, yeah, they were the Scorpion unit.
Yeah.
So um you know once all that is done, it shows that we're so quick to vilify the white cop. We know the historic reasons why we do that, but it's a power dynamic thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it occurs not only like between cops and civilians, but it also occurs between managers and
Yep.
subordinates.
Yep. Yep.
And
Systemic, and it's
if a black person gets to have some power, and they're into the culture, the corporate culture takes over, and they see that they can get away with certain things because they associate themselves with certain people.
Mm-hmm.
They start to get corrupted, just like the white person that we demonize and vilify.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of shows that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with your points. And sometimes, when you are in a position of power and you're not abusing it, but you know that there are others that are, that are impacting your community, and like how do you rectify that as an individual, right? Knowing you're in the system, because I think about in this situation, I think about the other black cops in their situation, like in that precinct, right? Knowing that they have this Scorpion unit targeting, and well, there was technically targeting these individuals, and what is their mindset? Like, how do they kind of rectify the situation, and knowing that there are other black, like their peers or black cops, the brothers doing this to brothers, like what is their perspective? You know what I mean? And they are in positions of power as well, and like what are their reactions to this? How are they gonna change the way that they police in their city? By knowing by these types of actions, like those are the kind of questions I'm asking myself. But yeah, I do agree with all your comments. And Ada, go ahead, man. Your general comments and things like that.
I mean, from my perspective, when I found out about the whole thing, it came across as nothing new until I found out that all five officers involved were black, which was that was what the main issue that really took me aback. Because now it sends the message I got from that is, well, not the message, but essentially I have to question myself, like, how do I digest that fact? Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that a symptom of a deeper issue in there? Is it adequate training now? Is it groupthink, like Travis mentioned? Or are these officers trying to prove something to someone, be it their superiors, or is it to the black community that, hey, look, we're the enforcers, we're here to get everybody in line and stuff. So it's unfortunate. My condolences to the family. You know, it's never a good thing to find out that your loved one lost their lives to individuals that are supposed to be there to serve and protect.
Protect, yeah.
And that's just it's unfortunate. But those are my frank thoughts about the whole issue off right off the bat.
Yeah, and then and just in terms of like knowing that there's so many more unspoken issues or unspoken situations or things that have happened that haven't come to the media. Um,
Yeah,
there's so many. Like this is just one of how many countless cases. And then what another thing is how quickly they were vilified. You know what I mean? Like their photos were already on screen. Like they were like quick. I don't know how quick they lost their jobs. I don't know how quick they were just reprimanded. Like it was pretty quick. You know what I mean? And,
and
and,
that's
and
a double-edged sword that we always have to deal with. That's always rearing its head. It's like there's always a double standard. If it were officers of any other race or creed, we don't know if the response would have been the same.
yeah,
If their names and or faces that would have been publicized as quickly as they were, would they have been reprimanded as swiftly as these five officers
yeah,
were? So we don't know. There's always a double standard. So again, it goes to show that there's a deep-seated issue within the whole police force in the United States. I mean, not even only the United States. Most Western countries, if I can generalize, how the treatment of minorities or people of minorities is just it's always there's always been a double standard that's been guiding procedure. So it's quite unfortunate.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, no, absolutely. The double standard is clearly there. Um, it's just like I just think about okay, if this was if this is how quick it was, right? So, and I was reading something, just kind of catching up, uh, and they were talking about if it's this quick to be able to, you know, like fire them, no pay, whatever the case may be, whatever happened to them, this should be the standard moving forward, right? Whether they're Hispanic, white, black, any cops, right? It should move this quickly to be able to get
But
rid
then
of them. You know what I mean? To expel them.
people
You know?
play the devil's advocate and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is it's a different police force. It's a different state." Like, I mean, how do you set that standard across the board? So does it have to come from above, like at a federal level, or is it how do
It must. It would have to be
you
provincial or
reform the entire
citywide.
training? Yeah.
It would have to be
You know,
city, right?
So,
what I will add is that my grandfather was a cop. I have was a cop, and my uncle uh, was a cop as well. And there's great pride in doing the right thing as a cop, right? There's this thing about cops um, that's innately good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's people that's poisoning policing,
Mm.
right? And in Memphis, it's I think it's really local. So like in Memphis, there's the police captain is a black
Black
lady,
lady, yeah, black lady.
right?
Yeah, right.
So everybody's black, from the cops to the victim
Mm.
to the police hierarchy. They it seems to be all be black. So
Mm.
that could be why the information's coming out quicker, even though you
Okay, I
know
get it. I get it.
right. So when I look back to like Eric Gardner and the cops that choked him, because he was selling loose cigarettes. Um, I just feel like there's such a big difference in response because the local politics in Long Island is so different
Mm.
from what's going on today in Memphis. So, it comes back to historic, racial, political, systematic reasons why you get justice kind of in one place in America and you don't get it in another place. And, in Canada, I feel like we have a lot more, we've done a lot more work as far as um, the balance of power between police and civilians here. I feel like we've done a good job. There's actually some issues with Toronto and the TTC,
Mm.
and it's interesting to hear what is going on about that because it comes down to police funding and you know and having more health workers
Mm.
or starting to see health workers instead of police women and policemen
Mm-hmm.
being called to certain situations, So, I think it's a very nuanced thing. Um, but, as Ada said, it was a wake up call to see that it was black brothers killing another black brother um, like that.
And wake up call because George Floyd, you know, like George Floyd started everything and really highlighted the need to kind of address all these underlying issues in terms of anti-black racism that is not just seen within the police force but then with all systems, right, within all policies, within all programs that we have. And it was such an impactful moment. And sometimes I talk to my wife about it. I'm like, man is an angel. Like, God used him as that tool to kind of impact change for generations. Like, what he stood for will impact my kids, and what his sacrifice you know is going to be felt for generations. And I think about that sometimes when I hear these stories come up in the States or in Canada here, and I look to him as that angel that kind of started everything and brought awareness to these issues, and then gave us the strength to actually start talking about it. Like, even for us too, right? As this organization, like, it really wasn't because of we knew that we had underlying issues. We knew that these issues persisted, but he gave us the strength to be able to say to ourselves, okay, let's start this group, and then let's start tackling and how we can overcome these issues. So I really, his family and going through it as well, and I can imagine the kind of burden that they've had to carry, knowing that they lost their loved one, but also started a revolution, started a movement that is going to be felt for generations across the world. Um, and but that's just when you were talking about that, it's like a lot of things are happening in Canada. I agree. Like, there's a lot of, and that's because of community, right? Like, community has been voicing their concerns, and I think that they've been doing an amazing job. A lot of community organizations, activists in that space, have been doing an exceptional job, and to some degree, government has been
I have a,
listening.
I have a
Uh,
question,
yeah.
and it's not really a question, it's more about a comment because there's this aspect of right now, there's this whole background and research going on, investigation going on in Quebec and Ontario behind the minor hockey leagues
Mm.
and abuses going there. And I know there's definitely black children that were involved in both circumstances, whether they were the one provoking or the one that weren't being provoked. I know those as well are things that are happening. So that's where I'm trying to look at this circumstance as well in the aspect of, is this something that we could consider as toxic masculinity in this aspect of policing, and also in the aspect of this in the Quebec place where you see it's minor hockey leagues for men, right? It's not for so in this aspect, and we see this as black on black crime, and it often happens where it is a black and a man,
Hmm.
or it's a white and a man, right? So now does the aspect of toxic masculinity also play a part with the aspect of systematic racism?
Hmm. It's a good question. I'm gonna throw it out to Travis for that one. I know he's more. I could see
Well,
that.
yeah, no,
I could see the
that's a
thing
good
turning.
question.
It's turning. It's turning. I can see it. I know you want to answer that one. I
No,
know.
that's a good question. That's something I kind of want to I kind of thought on.
Yeah.
When it comes to everything we've spoken about, it can come down to broken families. It can come down to infidelity, sleeping with someone else's spouse. If we dig deep enough, it seems to start with something like that: jealousy,
Hmm.
um, coveting, feeling like your ego has been shattered because another man is going out with your ex. It could be that, I'm part of the Scorpion unit. How dare you?
But how does that work
How dare you?
if you're in power? Like if I'm in power, how would that
Mhm.
work? Why would I be jealous of you if I'm in power?
Well, it's so hard to get power. As a man, you have to work hard to get power. You have to sacrifice to get power. You do it because you know that it begets respect.
Hmm.
And then to see someone disrespect you, and you want to show the full wrath of that, so I feel that, sometimes I always think about our nature. We are very animalistic,
Mm.
right? It's a thin line between like a civil war or an all-out
Yeah.
war.
Mm.
This is something that the journalist brought this thing up about the toxic masculinity, which made me really reapproach the aspect, and it made me think in the sense of natural, the nature aspect of human beings, but mainly men. And she goes back to say that man always has this like dominant pre-nature to them.
Mm.
They want to show that the toughest. They want to show that they're leader. They want to show that they're most capable of power,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we take that aspect of toxic masculinity and we now throw it in any aspect, and now we sprinkle racism into it,
Mm.
it's ugly.
Oh yeah, it's ugly. Yeah.
It's very ugly. And now,
And even
even
to go
as for
back to
myself, as aside from just emotional being, what's it called, emotional intelligence, there's more to toxic masculinity than that,
Yeah. Adi, you had
right?
something? You wanted to say something?
How do we identify every aspect of it, and now how do we correlate that with racism, and how do we have to identify them separately, do we have to identify them together, because toxic masculinity is also the biggest trigger to systematic oppression,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and when it comes to men on men, right, and show that we're more dominant. Now I look at you and you're black and I'm white. Now how can I not be more dominant than you? I'm white, how can I not?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm gonna let. I know Adam wanted to jump in real quick.
yeah, sorry
yeah,
guys, I was ready for a second.
No, no, it's a good point. I like that.
valid
That was a good
point,
point.
valid points,
Yeah.
man, valid points, Marco. But taking it back to what Shuk said, like if you're in a position of power, how does it make it? Well, how did you word it, Shuk? I forget.
Like how? Why would you be feeling like this person disrespect you, or like why would you feel inferior if you're in a position of power? You know what I mean? Like
So
why like in that situation? You know?
So, for example, I mean, if you look at it from a certain angle, those five officers are sure they're the officers. They're part of the was it the Scorpion unit or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
Yeah. Scorpion unit.
So, rumor was, I mean, I haven't read the articles. I don't know the fact. Rumor was Tyre Nichols was either seeing his one of the officers' ex or whatnot.
Oh.
So, with that officer being in the position he is, yeah, there's apparently history or whatnot. So,
What?
one of that officers, right, being in the position he
No
is
way.
at linking that to toxic masculinity, having the history Tyree has with his ex or
Hmm.
whatnot, it's easy for that officer to then fall into the trap of toxic masculinity. For example, him being there must have felt emasculated, even though he's part of the Scorpion
Scorpion, yeah,
Squad or
yeah.
whatever they are. So, given the first opportunity and he encounters Tyre Nichols, having that history behind them, I'm sure there's some animosity between the two. Of
Mm,
course, he took full advantage, and that's what I always say. That's the understanding that everybody agrees that power corrupts. It's part of human nature. You go back to I mean, what's a rudimentary or crude example you give? Go back to caveman age. The biggest, strongest one always comes out on top. It might not always be fair, but that's just the laws of nature. Bigger, strongest one always wins. So with the officers being in the position they are, they're going to come out on top. They're powerful, so they're going to exercise that force, even though it's an abuse of power. And unfortunately for Tyre Nichols, he lost his life. It's just it. I would say that's a great example of toxic
You
masculinity
know,
because now we're including groupthink again. What were the other four officers saying? Nobody could, raise their voice and try and stop them while all this is going on. And either way, Travis, carry on. I want to hear what you
yeah,
want to
no,
say.
no, that's exactly what I was saying, and it goes to, what Kevin Samuels used to always say, that men are very territorial, right? And you know, cops in the Caribbean, they need to have a certain reputation, or else they wouldn't strike the right amount of fear in the streets to control the streets the way they need to. So sometimes they need to do certain things to show their strength, right? Because they need a certain fear in the streets, because we all know that, a place like Jamaica, a place like Trinidad is very violent. Very, it's very crime infested, right? So when you're in the community and you see a very sexy lady, you know what I mean? And you know
where
her
are you going with
history.
this now? Where are you taking? Where
You
is,
know her history. You know
Bachelor
that
speaking,
you
bro.
know that this girl, she's very sexy, but her man used to be her ex-man was a policeman in this district over here.
okay.
You're gonna go for this girl if you feel you're a bad man. You're gonna go for this girl. But this is in conflict with that police district.
Yeah. Okay.
All the cops over there are looking at you and they're saying, "Oh, so you're trying to disrespect the link. You think this is not a serious matter.
Mm.
You can't just go for our girls. Our girls are off limits. I don't care if she broke up with me. She's my baby mom. It doesn't really matter. She's off limits. You can go for the cement truck guys, girl,
Yeah.
you know, the bankers, girl. But you see, policeman, we're the biggest gang.
Yeah. Real talk, man. Real talk. Real
If
talk.
you're smart,
Yo.
if you're smart, don't mess with the man with the gun."
Yeah.
So
Officially,
that's
officially with
it.
officially with the gun. You know what I mean?
And that
With the
basically
license,
put
with the license gun.
and that basically put a staple on the absolute power corrupts absolutely. And again, is that a nature thing within men? I can agree so that being in power is something that we all encompass. Now, our only thing is, where do we seem to get that power? Is it the power of being able to create a family? Is it the power to be able to rule a country? Is it the power to be able to just tell people what to do and no say no buts, no ifs or ups or anything? Is it the power to lead by example in good ways? You could also use that power for good as you can for bad.
Hmm.
So for me, regardless, I do agree that it is a systematic and it is also a racial. There are racial attributes to it, you know. But the biggest point that stood out to me is the aspect of people who are in power do have the sense of strength, or you have to listen, or you have to cooperate, quote unquote, cooperate.
Hmm. Hmm.
So again,
Yeah,
condolences to the family, man. This is heartbreaking. Condolences to anybody
Yeah.
that felt any type of trauma from watching that video or watching the body
I didn't
cam
watch
or
it,
even
man. I
hearing
couldn't
of it.
watch it. I couldn't watch it.
It
It's
is very
traumatic.
triggering.
Yeah.
And I also read this research that said that they did they did a test, like just a psychological test, and they said that black kids develop PTSD a little bit later in their life.
Mm. You can
I
develop it. Don't
don't
just your
remember
neighborhood.
exactly where in quote unquote, if that was the study,
Yeah.
but I remember reading it. And if once I get the article, I'll be able to share it with the people.
Yeah. No, that'd be good to have. That'd be good to have because I think there's a lot of underlining things like you there's definitely needs for a study on black men. I know that there's a lot of studies on it in the States. I think that there has to be some awareness building and some focus on it here in Canada. Hopefully we're starting that momentum. I know that there's a lot of researchers and people doing it in that space. So, but that this is just four guys having a conversation. We don't have all the answers, but it's like we definitely want need that there's a need for change, particularly whether it be in the States or here in Canada. And just wanted to also mention quickly, today is actually an important day because Canada just announced the Canada's Black Justice Strategy. So it's basically a strategy that they're implementing to start to address issues of anti-Black racism within the correctional system or justice system, and the overrepresentation of blacks in the criminal justice system. So basically, they are starting to tackle this on a national level. They are looking, and they've established this steering committee with nine members. I believe it's 9 members of research and advisors and people in that field of study to be able to advise the government of Canada on issues that are affecting black people, particularly black males, in the correctional system. So it's monumental. It's actually it's a commitment that was made, by this government. So they are acting on it, and it's just been announced today, so that they are going to start doing some consultation across government. They're also going to be providing some recommendations, and then create a report that the government can use to guide certain issues pertaining to our issues. So it's good. It's recognized, but there's so much more work that needs to be done at the federal level, provincial, territorial level, within our police force. Obviously, we know that there's a lot of issues that we have, and that as community has voiced over decades and decades long, and we can refer back to different reports and different things that communities have been saying that needs in terms of police reform. And so I just want to mention that to our viewers. We'll probably provide a link to the bottom of this episode so people can take some time to review it, just build awareness around it, make sure people have some line of sight on that. But this is one of many conversations on this particular issue, but I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of that, because it's enough. But also we need to be able to stand firm together. Like, it's one of the reasons why we created this group, right? To be able to collaborate, to voice our concerns, to support each other as Black men in Canada, and having that outlet can really provide opportunities for us to have good discussion. And hopefully, as we kind of evolve the podcast, we can bring on you guys, and you guys can ask questions. We could have good conversation about particular topics that are ranging. But this is one of the topics that is really serious. But I don't know, would you guys have any other thing that you wanted to make mention to our viewers and stuff like that?
I want to add a little spice to the topic in
Yes,
terms
sir.
of systematic racism.
Yes, sir.
Do you guys understand that your banks and your hedge funds and your pension funds are literally being used by cities in order to pay those, to not only fund police officers, right?
Yep.
But also fund the prisons. Not only that, but also fund any reparation for any victims of the families that have been persecuted by these wrong behaviors. And those are by the billions. I'm talking by the billions, and the returns are in the tens to 20%.
Wow.
And guess who's paying that return? You,
Of course.
again. So your money is being used against you in order to persecute people.
It's crazy.
That's the spice I want to add.
That's crazy. I didn't know about that. I actually didn't know about that. That's new information for me. Is that like just is that something that's common, or is it particular to this in Canada, or is it just
It's
something that's
it's it's everywhere. It's
yeah
across nations. Banks
I say,
like, and I don't want to call out the banks because
they might fund our
I'm very
podcast, man.
because they can fund the
they
podcast, they
might
can
fund the
help us.
podcast.
But
Don't call them out.
this is public information. These
Yeah.
banks lend money to cities in
Yeah.
order for cities to fund
Yeah.
everything involved in the city. It's not just your tax money. The city knows how much they can lend based on how much taxes and individuals that they have.
Mm.
That's what your SIN number is being used for.
You
But
say you.
aside from
I don't want
yeah,
to
that's
jump in on
that.
you.
Okay, so your social insurance number is used as a tracking methodology in order to get you back to CRA.
Mm.
CRA knows how much money you make and how much tax you get. That tax is per city, so they know exactly how much money that particular city is going to get.
Mm.
So now cities, they don't rely on cash coming in order to pay thing. They rely on cash coming in order to pay debt.
Mm.
The debt comes from the lenders. The lenders are the banks. The lenders are the pension funds. The lenders are the government. The lenders are also individuals. So when that money is being used, it's also being used to persecute the individuals. It's also being used in order to help the individuals.
Yeah.
Where that monies get to be used, that's your decision as a citizen, and that's for you to voice out your opinion. And that's where we're here as the Brotherhood Coalition, is to create that kind of opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. And obviously, go out in there and vote for your party that you would like to kind of in terms of the direction. So, using that, your voting power is important. So, make sure everyone goes out and vote when we need to. Bada, you said want to jump in, right?
I was gonna say it's just as Marco was mentioning, like pension funds. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. If you look at what's the one, the Ontario Teachers Pension Fund, massive fund. So I mean, if you go to their website, you can see all the companies they invest in, all the securities, all the. So in the states, I would say using your pension fund against you is more rampant because some of those funds could own prison systems, jailhouses that in turn
Mm.
minorities are being over persecuted, over arrested, and being essentially funneled from your bad public school system right into jail.
Mm.
Because in the states, a lot of these criminal reform or institutions are for profit. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some stories and numbers, actually documents and numbers to back up what Marco was saying.
So you just really need to do your research when you're really investing in these areas, right? So
Yeah.
like you really need to like know where your money is going, and particularly
Yeah.
you're not just throwing it to like a mutual fund where it's being
That's
diversified.
why that's why due diligence is for the average guy is very hard because you have to
Yeah.
really literally dig deep and know everything about that company that you're putting your money into. So
And
if
these
there's something they're
funds,
doing that you don't believe in and you're not aware of it, to find out later on kind of makes you feel a little,
let's say,
guilty.
and there's also what are they called? Ethical investment funds. There's ethical mutual funds. Those are some things for people to be looking into. They may not have the
That's what it's
highest
called?
returns, but they're
Is that what it's
yeah
called?
they're not they're called um something ethical strategic investment or something like that.
Okay.
But they are something with ethical in there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no. I'm curious about it. I'm curious, like because
But there
that's
are
important.
so there are some very diverse. They are some of them are very specific, whether it's animal cruelty, other ones are non-religious, other ones are non-scientific, other ones are non-political or non-governmental, so they don't invest in cities and city corporations, they invest in people. So it really, the hard part about it is to be able to do that, is to have to do that research in order to look into it. But the where it becomes easy for individuals is the fact that we have technology right now, and we do have Google, and we do have the ability to look up where the good
Yeah.
funds are, to look up where the strategic investments are.
Okay.
You know, and myself as an investor, that's one thing I really have to levy is because I invest in real estate, I invest in multifamily, and my thing is, if we go back to certain to families and black families or whatever families and low income housing and how that funds basically funnels the prison systems oftentimes it's my due diligence as an investor to
Yeah.
be able to help those people, but also be able to create some type of profit for investors that want to put money there too.
Yeah.
So it's such a hard way to, such a hard thing to balance, and that's where it's very important for us to have the right vision, or us to really put into perspective what we're doing. Everything, I read this quote that said everything is deep, from the conversation and the relationships you have, everything has some meaning. And if you could really find it, if you could find your purpose within those meanings, then you will be able to become a better person. So
No, that's really good, and you're clicking a lot of light bulbs for me. Like I'll have to. I never knew that, so I'm learning. I'm learning. So this is definitely important. Travis, you look comatose. And just so you know, I'm like the only one on the screen that has gray hair in my beard, man. Like I'm not liking this right now, man. It is not cool, bro.
you are the OG.
I don't like this at all. Like I need to do something
Get
about
that
this.
Dyson blue. Better get that.
Listen. Don't worry. Give me another couple of days. I'm gonna get my haircut done. But yes, any last words for our audiences? Just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to say anything that's on their mind. Particularly when we're talking about this issue. It's an important issue. It's something that's not gonna go away. We're definitely gonna have more talks. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again. But we'll definitely be here to definitely dissect it and have be able to give the opportunity to our audiences to maybe ask some questions later on, opening it up. So we'll see about that. But any last words for our people before we sign off? No.
Stay safe out there, if anything. Stay safe.
Be well. Yeah, be well.
Minorities.
Facts.
Yeah, Ada, don't drink all that alcohol back there, bro.
You mean Travis?
Or sorry, Travis. What am I saying? Travis.
Boy, losing his. It's the grain, the beard.
It's the grain.
Start losing. Yeah, I know, Travis Marco.
Travis.
I was gonna say, if you guys can like and subscribe,
Bro, yes.
Send love.
that'd be great. Tell a friend. And that's it.
You sound like
I don't say hi. I don't say bye. It's bedtime.
You sound like you're trying to like spit some game to like a girl or something like that. Like when you're saying it, guy. Like.
I'm desperate. Wasn't it Valentine's Day yesterday?
Anyways, okay. Well, we're signing off, man. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. This is our 3rd episode. We have more coming at you. So we're out. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, guys.
All right.